Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Brian Sikma. I'm a visiting fellow with the Foundation for Government Accountability, and thank you for the opportunity to testify today and talk about guaranteed income programs. Guaranteed income programs start from the best of intentions, but they have the worst possible policy outcomes. That's because they scale up and magnify an individual crisis without solving the underlying issues that contribute to the crisis. Welfare programs in Texas are generous because the hardworking people of Texas are extremely generous. Low-income individuals can receive a mix of state and federal benefits that provide access to health care, housing, food, childcare, job training, and more. Each of these efforts is directly tied to a root cause of poverty, and these guardrails ensure that taxpayer money is spent on meeting basic individual needs. Further, for individuals who are otherwise in good health and able to work a job, these programs require participation in either a job training program, community volunteer activities, or even part-time work. In stark contrast to these efforts to address the underlying and systemic root causes of poverty, guaranteed basic income programs amount to a dramatic transfer of cash from wage earners, often from working class families who have prudently adopted sound fiscal policies for their households, and transfers that to those who would benefit from learning those same practices in their own life. We all face similar challenges: working a job, paying for food, housing, healthcare, transportation, education, saving for the future. These are basic things that confront every individual and every single family. How well we face these challenges is a mix of good habits, hard work, and a little luck, none of which are addressed by a no-strings-attached cash handout. Now, across the country, there have been more than 150 universal basic income or guaranteed income pilot programs tried recently. And like in Harris County, they've used a mix of federal dollars in some instances and private dollars in other instances. At least 6 local governments, of course, here in Texas have implemented programs from Austin all the way down to Fort Worth, up to Fort Worth, San Antonio, Harris County, El Paso County. And when we look at what happens here, it's fascinating to see what these funds end up being spent on. A Stanford University study sponsored by a number of organizations that are pro-universal basic income found that in 30 pilot programs across over 8,500 recipients, basic income program funds, only 9% were spent on housing and only 2% on healthcare, and less than 1% was spent on education opportunities. The largest category of spending was on retail, sales, and services, with the second largest category being vacation opportunities for those in the program. Now, here's the bottom line. Guaranteed income is a bad policy regardless of who receives the check in the mail or what they spend it on. The program itself is the flaw. It takes money from those who earn it, puts it in a pot, and redistributes it without ever giving people an opportunity to identify what they could do differently or what needs specifically could be met that allow them to move beyond those problems that trap them and foster ongoing poverty. These programs are touted as research for a universal basic income in some instances, but cities and counties don't need to continue testing a policy that taxpayers already know is a bad idea. It's common sense that if people don't have a reason to work, they won't necessarily work. If people don't have the tools to overcome problems, they won't overcome those problems. And what we've seen is that universal basic income glosses over all of those problems. In California, a local program pilot eventually led to state policy, which is why to date 4 states have adopted statewide bans on universal basic income: Arkansas, Idaho, Iowa, and South Dakota, and we believe Texas should consider doing the same. It's important that efforts to help people break the cycle of poverty actually serve as meaningful and targeted interventions that address specific problems and help build the skills and habits that an individual needs to be successful and to navigate life. Cash payments do none of that. Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to take any questions you or the committee may have.
Well, I think that's an interesting report that I'm looking at right here, Brian. And so the detail that you've covered, you've looked at, let's see, skip all the obvious, but go specifically to what you've looked at. You've looked at City of Austin's Guaranteed Income Pilot Program, the City of Austin, San Antonio's Guaranteed Income Pilot Program, El Paso, that's really, I guess that's a combined county government out there, Harris County's Uplift, and the City of Dallas. And so you would say that your conclusions apply to all these programs?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I would say that whenever we look at the data, whether it's across Texas or across the country, whether it's California on the West Coast or Washington, D.C. on the East Coast, the kind of the universal product is the same, that there's not a long-term measurable positive impact from a universal basic income program, because some of the situations that, an individual may encounter that either led them into poverty or have kept them trapped in poverty are not addressed by a no strings attached effort that really doesn't allow them to really grapple with and then receive the tools that they need to kind of navigate that situation better and move beyond poverty.
Okay, thank you for your testimony and your recommendation. Okay, Senator Eckhart, any? It's okay.
No.
That's right, well, argued